This is the Washington Times front page for Wednesday, August 27th, 2025. Thanks for joining us. I'm George Gerbo. Washington, D.C. witnessed its first killing in nearly 2 weeks amid the federal law enforcement surge in the nation's capital. Matt Delaney and Carrie Pickett report the streak of 12 days without a homicide was the fourth longest such streak this year and the longest since May. Attorney General Pam Bondi said that federal authorities had arrested 1,094 people and made 115 illegal gun seizures during the federal takeover of local policing. President Trump has also raised the possibility of seeking the death penalty for anyone arrested for future killings in D.C. The federal government can seek capital punishment for anyone convicted of a major federal crime in D.C., which abolished the death penalty in 1981. More than a dozen senior generals and admirals have been fired by the Trump administration since January. Mike Glenn reports the administration has offered few explanations, but the speculation has run the gamut from a downsizing of bloated leadership ranks to a more politically motivated purge of leaders seen as not loyal to the White House. The most recent high-level military officer let go was Air Force Lieutenant General Jeffrey Cruz, director of the Defense Intelligence Agency. He was fired Friday, only weeks after a classified DIA assessment of the U.S. strikes on Iran was leaked to the press. The assessment contradicted the Trump administration's contention that the bombing mission demolished Iran's nuclear program. An international study says that illegal immigrants in New York City over the past 4 years led to increases in crime near the hotels where they were housed. Stephen Dinan reports the study from Charles University in Prague, Czechia, found that arrests of Hispanics rose in the immediate areas around the hotels. Theft was the most common in the study data. 2/3 of the crime increase identified was tied to misdemeanors, particularly cash crimes, such as larceny. A handful of Democrats have sounded the alarm on transgender athletes in the aftermath of last year's election, but the party is showing no sign of reversing its support. Valerie Richardson reports Massachusetts Representative Seth Moulton raised the fairness issue a day after the party's losses in the November 5th elections. Instead of winning over his fellow Democrats, he was hit with a backlash that now includes a transgender primary opponent, Bethany Andres Beck. The episode illustrates Democrats' conundrum as they tried to avoid losing the issue in the 2026 midterm elections without angering LGBTQ supporters. And finally, South Korean President Lee Jae-myung said his staff feared that President Trump would ambush him about his government's raids on churches. Despite the fears, Jeff Murdoch and Andrew Salmon report Lee said his meeting with Trump was beyond my expectations and that their discussions exceeded the allotted time. Hours before Lee arrived at the White House, Trump had raised questions about South Korea's investigation into its impeached former president Yoon Suk-yeol, which has ensnared several churches in the country. Find all of today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or on the Washington Times app, and find us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us on social media at Wash Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For the Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/zip. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/zip. That's ZipRecruiter.com/zip. ZipRecruiter.com/zip.